Change does not always arrive loudly,
Sometimes it happens quietly.
and native speakers often describe it in soft ways.
For example, things started to feel different,
Very simple,
but very real.
because change is often felt before it is understood.
Another natural structure. I did not notice it at first.
Very common in reflection.
Sometimes realization comes later.
And English shows that gently.
For example, it took me a while to see it.
Very natural.
Another one. Looking back, it was already happening.
Very cinematic.
Because change often begins before we understand it.
Contrast is very important.
It shows the difference between past and present.
For example, it used to feel easy, but now it feels different.
Very common.
Another structure. Nothing changed suddenly, yet everything feels new.
Very deep.
Because change is not always visible,
Sometimes people accept change slowly.
and their language becomes softer.
For example, I think I am starting to understand it.
Very natural.
Another one. Maybe this is how things are now,
Very calm.
but emotionally strong.
Letting go is also part of change.
And native speakers express that carefully.
For example, I guess I am learning to let it go.
Very human sentence.
Another one. It does not feel the same anymore, and that is okay.
Very mature English.
Closing cinematic line.
Change rarely asks for permission.
It moves quietly,
Through small moments.
through unnoticed shifts.
And one day,
You realize everything feels different. Sometimes people feel lost,
but they cannot explain why.
and native speakers often begin softly.
For example, I am not sure what this feeling is,
Very natural.
because confusion often comes first.
Another structure. Something feels off, but I cannot explain it.
Very common in real conversations. Feeling lost often means losing direction.
And English reflects that uncertainty.
For example, I thought I knew where I was going,
Very simple.
but emotionally heavy.
Another one. Now I'm not so sure anymore.
Very natural continuation. When people reflect deeply, they hesitate.
And that hesitation appears in structure.
For example, maybe I missed something along the way.
Very human. Another one. I keep thinking I should understand this by now.
Very natural inner thought. Sometimes the hardest questions are silent.
And native speakers express them gently.
For example, was it always like this and I just did not notice?
Very deep.
Another one, I do not know when things started to change.
Very cinematic English.
Feeling lost is not always about finding answers.
Sometimes it's about searching.
For example, I feel like I'm looking for something I cannot name.
Very powerful sentence. Another one. There's something missing, but I don't know what it is.
Very natural and emotional. Being lost doesn't always mean being wrong.
Sometimes it means you're changing.
Quietly,
Slowly.
without clear answers.
And maybe
Maybe that's where something new begins.
starting again does not always feel exciting.
Sometimes it feels quiet.
And native speakers often describe it gently.
For example, I think I am ready to begin again,
Very simple.
but emotionally strong.
Another structure. It does not feel the same, but maybe that is okay.
Very natural.
Because starting again often comes with change.
Before starting again, people often let something go.
And English reflects that softly.
For example, I'm learning to leave some things behind.
Very human.
Another one, not everything needs to come with me,
Short.
but meaningful,
Hope is often expressed quietly.
not loudly.
For example, maybe this time things will be different.
Very common.
Another one, I do not know how it will go, but I'm willing to try.
Very natural and honest.
Starting again is not about big changes.
It is about small steps.
For example, I will just take it one step at a time.
Very native.
Another structure. That is enough for now.
Very calming sentence.
New beginnings often come with uncertainty.
And native speakers accept that.
For example, I do not have all the answers yet.
Very real.
Another one, but I feel like I'm moving in the right direction.
Very natural emotional balance.
Starting again does not need to be perfect.
It only needs to begin.
A small step,
A quiet decision.
a different direction.
And slowly,
Something new starts to take shape. Understanding does not always come quickly,
sometimes it takes time.
and native speakers often describe that moment gently.
For example, it took me a while to see it clearly,
Very natural.
because clarity often comes later.
Another structure. I did not understand it then, but I do now.
Very common in reflection. When people understand something, the past changes.
Yes, the same memory feels different.
For example, looking back, it all makes sense now.
Very native.
Another one, at the time, I could not see what was really happening,
Very cinematic.
because understanding often arrives after experience,
Sometimes the realization is quiet.
but very powerful.
For example, I think I finally understand what it meant.
Very natural.
Another one. It was not about what I thought it was.
This shows deeper meaning. Even when people understand something, they stay calm.
They do not speak too strongly.
For example, it became clearer over time.
Very soft.
Another structure, I started to see things differently.
Very common in real English. Understanding often brings acceptance.
And acceptance changes tone.
For example, now I understand why it had to happen.
Very deep.
Another one. It makes sense, even if it was difficult.
Very balanced sentence. Understanding does not always change the past.
But it changes how we see it.
A small realization,
A quiet shift.
a clearer view,
And suddenly,
everything feels easier to carry.